What? Who's there? Oh,
Oh,
who, who-
I'm sorry. Did I startle you? Sometimes I startle people.
oh, you're a nurse.
Right. Yeah, guess I am.
You must be that home health care nurse that they mentioned.
Oh, right. That's me.
I didn't hear you come in.
Oh, well, sorry. I just sort of appeared. I guess I'm like that sometimes, you know?
It must be my hearing. Martha says, that's my wife. She says that I'm hard of hearing in my left ear, and I guess I do favor my right. Well, anyway, I see you let yourself in, and that's fine.
Yeah, you were on my list. See, we don't really work on an appointment basis, just whenever we're in the neighborhood, you know?
Well, I tell you, this retirement home takes care of everything. All the yard work, the entire recreational program, and
Or whenever there's a need. Those calls always take priority, of course.
I'd heard from some of the fellows down at the activity center that they had a home health care nurse come around, but I didn't know anything about how you signed up for it or whether it was automatic or what.
Anyway, well, I'm just sorry I didn't get to you sooner. You've been on our list for quite some time now, and I'm afraid that, well, sometimes we're short staffed and it takes a while to get around to everybody, Especially when it doesn't seem like a real emergency.
Oh, that's quite all right. I feel fit as a fiddle anyway. No complaints, long as I take my blood pressure medicine. Well, my knee acts up sometimes whenever the weather changes, and sometimes I have trouble, you know, keeping regular.
So, Bud. May I call you Bud?
Oh, sure. I've been Bud since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. My real name's William, kind of a common name, at least it was in my day. Nowadays, you've got all kinds of names. I've got two grandsons, and their names are Zacharias and Elijah. Now, what kinds of names are those?
Oh, I think those are nice names.
Kind of a mouthful, if you ask me. They sound like some of those Old Testament names you hear in church on Sundays. I don't know how they expect little kids to spell them at school, but I guess nowadays they've got computers and all that. We just call them Zach and Eli anyway. I guess everything gets shortened.
Guess so. I'm Angie.
Hi, Angie. That's short for Angela, is it?
Actually, it's short for Angel. Another one of those common names.
I suppose.
So, shall we get started?
Oh, right. Here I am running my mouth, taking up your time when you've got places to be. You just tell me what you need me to do. So where do you want to start? Blood pressure? You want me to roll up my sleeve? Which one do you want, left or right?
Well, I thought we'd just talk a while.
Talk.
Yeah, talk.
Is this one of those holistic health things?
You might say that.
I've heard about those programs. Martha's into some of those. Always seemed like a lot of mumbo jumbo to me. She's got all kinds of herbal teas in the kitchen cabinet over there.
Well, let's just give it a try, shall we?
If you insist. So Medicare covers this sort of thing nowadays, do they?
Now, don't you worry about that.
The things the government pays for sometimes these days amazes me. Guess somebody's got a good lobbyist out there. It's all a matter of who you know, I suppose.
It's how a lot of things work.
Nothing new in that.
Been that way since the beginning of time.
You got that right. Not that I've been around that long, mind you.
Oh, I didn't think that.
I mean, just because I'm retired doesn't mean I'm old, you know? At least that's what they told us to say down at the activity center.
So, how are you?
Me? Well, I'm all right, I guess. Like I said, I can tell when the weather's going to be better than I can tell what the weather's going to be better than any of them weathermen on the TV on account of my joints. And sometimes I get a little, well, indigestion, I guess you could say. You sure you don't want to go ahead and take my blood pressure or something?
Oh, I'm sure.
You're kind of making me nervous just sitting there.
Well, let's talk about something you're interested in then. I see you've got the sports page right there.
Business page, actually. You see, they put business on the back of the sports. I guess they figure it's all the men's section, you know? And they put food and the comics together in the women's section over there on the coffee table.
You don't have to be a man to follow sports, do you?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. It's just that, you know, the odds are that this is something men would like.
So, looks like a big baseball story there, huh? Looks like, oh, it's the capsule summaries for opening day.
It could be. I didn't read it.
No? Why not? Looks pretty interesting to me. Short, simple, all you need to know. Oh, look, they're picking the Mets to take the division this year.
I've got no use for baseball.
Really? Why is that?
No special reason.
Oh, well, I don't like the sound of that one bit. I think there is a special reason.
Look, you're going to take my blood pressure or what?
Well, I don't know if that's such a good idea now. You seem a little agitated.
I'm not agitated.
Or at least tense. Are you tense, bud?
I'm not tense. Now, would you just stop it?
Well, I better take your blood pressure.
Good.
No, I'm kind of a baseball fan.
Good for you.
See? Bet you didn't believe me, did ya?
Well, I didn't really consider it one way or another.
You know what the Mets said in '73? You gotta believe.
Believe what?
Now, that was always the question, wasn't it? Me, I've always been kind of partial to the Angels, and the Padres, too. I always thought that was a unique name for a baseball team, not like one of those ferocious names like those other teams have, you know?
All those California teams.
You don't got something against California, do you?
I didn't say that.
You didn't have to. I'm sensing some issues there.
They're not issues. You make me sound like I'm some kind of nutcase. Now, why don't you just get on with what you got to do?
Well, I'm trying.
I think it goes the other way around.
Oh, thanks.
I've had to get checked often enough. I think I know how it works.
I guess I should too. It's embarrassing. Please don't tell my supervisor, okay?
Okay.
All right, bud. Why don't you take a deep breath for me?
Okay.
Good, deep, cleansing breath. Okay, exhale. And again. You know, this really isn't anything to do with the checkup. It's just something good, you know, to kind of clear your mind and your body. So, what's your team, bud?
My team? I told you, I don't follow baseball, so can we just stop talking about it?
What about the Dodgers, bud?
What about the Dodgers?
You just strike me as a Dodgers fan.
What in the world would make you say a thing like that?
Just a lucky guess.
Well, you're wrong.
Am I?
Yes.
Oh my, I'm sensing a problem here.
A problem? What kind of problem?
A nerve problem.
I don't have any problem with my nerves.
Really? Well, I certainly did touch one when I talked about those Dodgers. Okay, well, we can go ahead and take this thing off.
So, so what's the reading?
The reading? Oh, that! Psh, it's just a bunch of numbers. I couldn't make heads or tails of it even if I wanted to.
What kind of a nurse are you anyway?
The only one that's gonna really help you with what's ailing you, bud.
Ailing? What do you mean?
Baseball.
What?
Specifically the Dodgers, but let's focus a little more big picture, shall we?
What are you talking about?
Oh, I think you know exactly what I'm talking about, bud.
I don't understand.
Think, bud, think. Back to when you were a boy in the 1950s, a long time back.
I'm not going senile. You don't have to patronize me.
Oh, so you know what I'm referring to then. A certain promise you made, a certain deal to a certain, individual involving a certain baseball team.
But how do you know?
It's easy. It's right here in your chart.
Let me see that.
If you insist. Gosh, I don't know what it is with people these days. They always have to see it in writing. Can't take my word for anything.
I can't read this chicken scratch. It's all Greek to me.
Well, one of those old Mediterranean languages.
But where did this come from? I don't remember ever telling anyone.
Oh, you must have told someone, all right.
Maybe I told the banker when we had to apply for our first mortgage. He asked what other long-term commitments we had, but I meant this as a joke.
You meant it as a joke to the banker, maybe, but you didn't mean it as a joke to God, did you?
Well, no.
And for the past, how many years has it been now, bud?
63.
And for the past 63 years, you've held up your end of the bargain. Isn't that right?
Damn straight. Pardon my language, miss.
You're forgiven. I'm used to it.
But I don't see what that's got to do with anything.
It's got to do with everything, bud. It's the reason why you're so tense. The reason that you have high blood pressure. The reason why, well, I think the regularity is its own problem, but you never know. And the indigestion might have something to do with it too.
You don't say.
So, want to tell me about it?
You seem to know a lot about it already.
Oh, come on. It'll do you good. Get it off your chest.
Well, if you say so.
Do you need some water or something?
Oh, no, that's all right. I'm just thinking back. Those were such different days.
Tell me about it.
It's not like now. Nowadays, players move every which way. Hell, whole teams move and nobody thinks anything about it. Nobody's got any loyalty to anything anymore. It's all about the almighty dollar. But back then, your team was your team. You know what I mean? And the team you rooted for, well, that said something about who you were.
Sort of like which church you go to.
Exactly. Well, when I was growing up, I rooted for the Dodgers.
The Brooklyn Dodgers.
The Brooklyn Dodgers. They'd always been the hard luck team. The underdogs. The ones who were close but no cigar. Dem bums, they called them. Dem bums. And that's what one of the newspapers called them. Can you believe that? Can you imagine if some paper did that today? Oh, boy. You'd never be able to get away with it nowadays. But back then, that's what they called them, bums. And you know what their slogan was?
Wait till
Wait till,
next year.
oh, you are a baseball fan, aren't you?
Oh, thanks. I've got a friend who's Jewish, and he's always talking about next year in Jerusalem. So that's how I remember it.
So even their name was special. The only team that wasn't named after a city. Nowadays, they have all kinds of crazy names after states or pieces of states or all sorts of made up names. I mean, the Minnesota Twins wasn't so bad because that's kind of like Minneapolis, and there's the whole Minneapolis St. Paul thing. So I can understand that. But the Texas Rangers, when it's really just Dallas, well, Dallas Fort Worth, but that doesn't seem to bother anybody for anything else.
The Florida Marlins,
There you go. And the Arizona Diamondbacks,
the Colorado Rockies,
the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
the California Angels. Well, before they changed their name to the Anaheim Angels, or the Los Angeles Angels, or whatever they're calling themselves these days, but that is a whole other story.
So anyway, the point is the Dodgers were special. Even when they lost, they were special.
Like the 62 Mets?
Well, never that bad. But you get the idea. Then in the 40s and 50s, man, they got hot. They brought in Branch Rickey as GM, and let me tell you, he was a genius, an absolute genius. Invented the farm system, introduced the batting helmet, and I don't have to tell you about Jackie Robinson. Suddenly, dem bums were winning pennants, 47, 49, 52, and 53 back to back. All those pennants, and they never could beat the Yankees in the series. Never. Then in 55, they finally did. It took 7 games, but they did it. They beat the Yankees. It all turned on one play, okay? The 7th game in Yankee Stadium. This one's for all the marbles. Bottom of the 6th, Dodgers up by 2. Yankees at bat, the crowd's going wild. Suddenly, the Dodgers manager, Walter Alston in those days, you know, makes a change in the lineup. Nobody can understand what's going on. He moves Jim Gilliam from left field to second base and sends Sandy Amoros out to left. Amoros! Nobody can figure out what's going on. It makes no sense. Amoros, he's a reserve, a sub, and this is the World Series. Anyway, the first batter's Billy Martin. He draws a walk, see? Next up, Gil McDougald. He bunts. So now the Yankees have 2 men on base. The go-ahead run at the plate. Now here comes Yogi Berra up to bat. Johnny Podres is on the mound for the Dodgers, right? Hell, the guy didn't even have a winning record during the regular season, but he's gotten hot in Game 3, so Alston went with him. Really trusting his gut, you know? So Podres is looking in. Here comes the pitch, and bam! Berra tags that thing. I mean, really slams it. It's going deep, deep down the left field line, just inside the foul pole, and then, nobody could believe this, Amoros runs it down. Nobody thinks he can get it, but he does. He snags it in his glove just as pretty as you please. Then, boom, he makes this perfect throw to Pee Wee Reese at shortstop, who relays to Gil Hodges at first, and bam, they catch McDougald trying to get back to base. Bam, double play, 2 outs. Man, You could just feel the wind coming out of the Yankees' sails. The Dodgers go on to win the game and the series. Man, I'll remember that play as long as I live. Amoros took it just like this. You're never going to see a better example of a glove-handed catch.
You saw all of this?
Oh, no, I wasn't there. I was listening to it on the radio, but it was as good as being there, let me tell you. I can still see it in my head, just like it was yesterday.
Wow.
And that's where it all started, too.
Where what started?
The end.
I don't follow.
At the 55 series, you see, LA wanted a team, so they sent some people to the series to talk to baseball types about what team they might be able to get. Not many people remember this, but the team they really wanted to get was the Washington Senators.
How about that?
Instead, they wind up talking to Walter O'Malley. He ran the Dodgers then, and he was looking for a new stadium in Brooklyn, but nobody there in the city would help him out. They kept making excuses about no developable land, at least none the city wanted to part with, that sort of thing. And well, it took a couple of years to work itself out, but come 57, soon as the season's over, he pulls up stakes and takes the whole team with him to California. The whole team. You know what one of the newspaper columnists said at the time? He said the three most evil men in the 20th century were Hitler, Stalin, and Walter O'Malley. Of course, you're way too young to know anything about them, but let me tell you, that newspaper fellow was right about O'Malley. Imagine moving the team to California.
So, what did you do?
What could I do? I was 11 years old. I was heartbroken, devastated.
Sort of like that 7 stages of grief thing, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, then finally you get to acceptance?
Except I never got to acceptance. Oh no, I swore I'd never accept it.
You swore?
Oh, I swore all right.
Now we come to it. You mean like a real old-timey kind of swearing? I don't mean just, like swear words, but a real like, I swear allegiance kind of thing.
I went outside and I shook my fist at the heavens and I swore to God that I would never again be a baseball fan until there was a team back in Brooklyn.
Wow, now that is some swearing. That's like serious business, bud.
Damn straight it's serious. To tell you the truth, I forget now whether it had to be the Dodgers back in Brooklyn or whether another team would do. I just remember the Brooklyn part.
So the Mets?
Oh, Mets don't count. They're in Queens.
Gotcha. Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
So did the team have to have Brooklyn in the name or just like play in Brooklyn?
Oh, hell, I don't know. I was just a kid. I didn't get into the whys and wherefores.
I see. But all this time, you've kept your end of the bargain.
You bet I've kept it. A deal's a deal.
The deal with God.
That's the most serious of all.
Can't argue with that.
No siree.
So, you didn't follow them when the Dodgers won the series in 59?
Of course not. Blasphemy.
What about the 60 World Series where Bill Mazeroski made that classic home run in the bottom of the ninth to win it for the Pirates? First time ever a home run had won the series.
Nope.
Okay, the 69 series where Tom Seaver and the amazing Mets went from worst to first.
Not in the least.
Denny McClain's 30-game season in '68. Hank Aaron breaking Babe Ruth's home run record in '74. Mark McGwire slugging 70 homers in '98. Barry Bonds hitting 73 in 2001. All right. Let me try this one on you. The Boston Red Sox winning the series in '04 for the first time in almost a century. And you didn't even sneak just a peek?
Never even crossed my mind.
You're serious.
Of course I'm serious.
You weren't tempted, like the least little bit tempted?
Not at all.
So I'm curious. How'd you manage?
Manage what?
Doing without baseball. After all those years, going cold turkey after being such a big fan.
Oh, that. I had to.
You had to.
I told you I made a deal with God.
So no matter how much it hurt to give up.
Oh, I haven't just given up baseball. I have come to despise it. I actively loathe it. I cheer for its ultimate destruction. You know what my favorite series year was?
What's that?
94. The strike year. The year there was no series.
Damn. Whoops. Well, you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
Just don't, my supervisor and all that.
Don't worry. I don't even know your supervisor.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure about that.
And Martha's always getting on me about my language, but I tell you, you turn on the television nowadays and to some of those shows and why it's practically locker room talk. It's terrible, just terrible.
So, what if God didn't make a deal with you?
I beg your pardon?
Well, you say you made a deal with God. How do you know it was a deal?
Hey, what kind of foolishness is that? Of course it's a deal. I walked out in the backyard, I looked up at the sky and shook my fist. What more do you want?
Technically, I think what you did was you made a pledge. Maybe even a vow, a promise, certainly. But a deal is when both sides agree, and how do you know he agreed?
Because, it doesn't matter. I gave my word. That's what counts. I gave my word.
Well, I can't argue with that.
My word is my bond.
It hurts, doesn't it?
What hurts?
Your, something must hurt.
My joints hurt when the weather changes.
You know what I mean. You miss it. You miss baseball.
You're damn right. But that's not the point. The point is I kept my word. I'm just like one of those ball players going on strike. I have withheld my services.
And look where it's gotten you.
What do you mean?
Well, let's see. Hypertension, indigestion, maybe you're,
Irregularity?
Right. That problem. And you certainly haven't gotten the Dodgers back in Brooklyn now, have you?
Look, lots of people have high blood pressure and all this spicy food they have nowadays. I was reading just the other day that salsa has now passed ketchup as the most popular condiment in the country. That's the problem right there.
Salsa?
Well, all this spicy food, mostly on account of, all those Mexicans moving in.
And you eat a lot of this spicy food.
Me? Oh, no, not me. Not with my stomach problems.
Well, then we can cross that one off the list, can't we?
Wait. I didn't mean it that way.
You know what I think your problem is, bud?
What's that?
There's something you need and you're just not getting it.
Oh, now don't go talking to me about those bran muffins. Martha's been on me about that. Those things taste like cardboard. I swear they do. Can't you just give me a pill or something? She's got a calcium deficiency and she takes some kind of little pill for that.
What you need is baseball, bud. You need it. Your body, your spirit demands it. That's why you've got such high blood pressure. That's why you've got those other problems. I mean, look at you. Opening day and you ought to be happy, relaxed, upbeat. I mean, everybody starts open on opening or day. I mean, everyone starts even and all things are possible.
All things except getting a team back in Brooklyn, you mean?
But God is not going to put a team back in Brooklyn.
Seattle got a team. Their lousy team. What were they called? The Pilots. That's it, the Pilots. The Pilots moved to Milwaukee after just one season. And Seattle got a new team. And there's nothing special about Seattle. Well, it rains there all the time. They can't even play ball half the time.
Bud, listen to me. God is just not going to put a team back in Brooklyn.
So God listened to the prayer of some little kid in Seattle, but he didn't listen to mine? Fine, be that way. See if I care.
Bud, it doesn't work that way. God is not the sports commissioner. If he were, he might do something about the designated hitter rule, but he's not, okay?
And Washington. Washington got a team. Washington got two teams. The Senators moved to Minneapolis and Washington got a new team right away. Then when those Senators moved to Texas, well, they had to wait a while.
34 years.
But they still got a team from Montreal.
And Brooklyn is not. You just need to accept that, bud.
And why do I need to accept it?
Because it's killing you. It's true. Look at the charts. A lifetime of high blood pressure can't be good for you, bud. And this anger, this unresolved anger towards baseball,
It's not anger, damn it.
Okay. Whatever it is, then.
I'll tell you what it is. It's passion. Yes, that's the right word, passion.
Okay. Passion. So you're passionate about baseball, just in a negative way.
I guess. You're not trying to trick me with some word game, are you? Because I really don't like those. I started doing crosswords after I retired, to give me something to do.
Something to do during baseball season?
Will you stop it about baseball already?
No, bud. You're the one who needs to stop something. You need to stop this silly deal with God and get back to following baseball. You'll feel a whole lot better for it. Why, heck, I bet you wouldn't even curse as much.
The hell I wouldn't.
It's true.
You think?
Can't hurt. It's probably all stress related anyway.
I'll be damned.
So, what you gonna say? What you gonna do? You gonna do it?
I can't.
What do you mean you can't? There's the sports section right over there. Pick it up and read it.
I mean, it's more complicated than that.
Okay, I got this. So you're waiting for a sign, right? Some kind of sign from above, like a third base coach signaling the batter. I gotcha. There you go, bud. You are released from the bunt. Swing for the fences.
What are you doing?
Signs, bud. I'm sending you a sign.
I swear, you're the strangest nurse I've ever had.
I'm trying to help you, bud.
Look, I appreciate that. I really do. You've really gone above and beyond the call of duty here today, Angie. But I really don't see this as a medical problem. It's just the way I am, okay? I've gotten by for 63 years like this, and well, I guess I don't expect to get by for 63 more. But you know what they say? You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
You're afraid, aren't you?
Afraid? Afraid of what?
Of becoming a fan again.
What would make you say a thing like that?
Because it's true, maybe. Is it?
I'd have a lot of explaining to do.
If they're really friends, they'll understand.
I don't like people to laugh at me. Kids laughed at me in school because I was too slow to play very well. I don't like people to laugh at me.
Trust me, nobody's going to laugh at you.
I might laugh at myself.
Well, I can't do anything about that. But you might need a good laugh now and then, so you go right ahead, bud.
I'd have a lot of catching up to do.
Well, what has changed since 57?
It'd almost be like starting over, learning everything from scratch. It'd be, well, like walking into a movie when it's 3/4 done and trying to understand everything that's going on.
Oh, do you mean like the infield fly rule or the smaller strike zone?
The players, the managers, hell, the teams. They've got all these new teams nowadays.
Well, you know what they say, bud.
What's that?
You can't tell the players without a program.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, it just means... Oh, never mind. Oh, well, golly, look at the time. I better scoot. But, you know, I think we've done some good work here today, bud. Don't you think?
Work? We just talked.
Now, you keep taking your high blood pressure medicine.
Yes, ma'am.
And you need to eat right. In fact, you need to eat more than right.
Not the bran muffins.
Yes, the bran muffins. They're good for you. Eat them.
Oh, damn. Sorry, ma'am.
And don't forget exercise. Regular exercise is important.
Well, Martha and I try to get out for a walk every day.
Walking's good. Anything that keeps you active is good.
Okay.
Well, I think that's it for today.
So you'll be back sometime? Is this like a regular thing?
Well, let's just say I'll be around, okay?
Okay.
All right, you take care now.
Okay, will do.
Bye.
Bye. Well, I'll be damned. The Dodgers and the Mets at 120. Oh, this'll be a good one.
Right center. Bob Siller goes over to make the catch, and Reese tags up and scores after the catch. Brooklyn leads 2-0. The Yankees get Martin and McDougal aboard in the 6th, and Berra drives a long fly into the deep left field corner. Sandy Amorose races after the ball. Looks to be a sure hit. Makes a clutch catch. The relay to Reese, who whips a peg to Hodges. McDougal is doubled at first to stand by.